With me now is Sundeep Gokhale, employment and labor lawyer and partner at CUPE LLP. Sundeep, thank you for being here. How strong is the union's claim that this order violates flight attendants' charter rights?
Well, if that's their legal position, there's a process for them to make that challenge. But I think the larger concern is what happens in the interim. Typically speaking, in these legal challenges, whenever there's an appeal of some sort, you have to abide by what the order or the original decision is in place right now. And what we're hearing from CUPE is they're not going to do that as of 2 p.m. today.
Now, if CUPE refuses to comply and remains on strike, what consequences could they potentially face?
Significant ones. The way I see this playing out would be that Air Canada would bring in a legal strike application as of 2 p.m. today to say CUPE's in an illegal strike based on Mr. Hajdu's order. And Air Canada will be able to quantify the damages, the financial damages that they are suffering as a result of the failure to return to work. And so CUPE's decision is one where they're demonstrating support for their membership and showing the fight. But on the other hand, they will be starting to incur financial liability as a result of this decision.
Financial liability and as well, back in 1978, when the president of CUPE ignored back-to-work legislation, he was actually sentenced to jail. Could that happen still nowadays? I mean, that was back decades ago.
I mean, I would be surprised if we went that far right now. I think the main issue right now is how can we get people back to work right now based on an interim timeline before ultimately other issues can be dealt with through collective bargaining and or binding arbitration. And right now, I think the focus would be on the financial impact CUPE is going to be taking on as a result of this kind of outright refusal to follow the order.
What do you imagine it will take to bring these two parties to a deal that, they're both satisfied with?
Well, I think there's a challenge right now. There's a clear disconnect in terms of some central issues, which is, what parts of the work day do flight attendants ultimately get paid for? And it doesn't sound like they're close to a resolution on that. It would be ideal if they could roll up their sleeves and come up with a creative resolution to address that issue. So at least for part of that time, flight attendants are in fact compensated. But it sounds like they're so far apart from that right now, which has ultimately led to Minister Hajdu's decision to order the parties to binding arbitration.
Now, you may or may not be able to answer this, but if these employees refuse the back-to-work order, does that mean that the binding arbitration is off the table as well?
No, that process will continue to operate. CUPE will have to participate in that process. It will be a different discussion if CUPE outright refuses to participate in the binding arbitration process. But I suspect that they will come to the table because that's a separate legal process, and they'll have representation through that, through binding arbitration.
All right, Sundeep, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for this. Appreciate your time and your insights.
Thank you.
That's Sundeep Gokhale, employment and labor lawyer and partner at CUPE LLP.